Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the only show where you can find out how people felt about people not really trying to find love. That, of course, makes this X's for Show your premier response show, responding to the Snatch Game of Love this week here on a Saturday. Very excited. You can check us out at X's for Show on socials. For me, Nico Action, NICOACTION.
And I'm TK. You can find me at TK Elemental.
I'm Jonah. You can find me places at Peak Jonah.
And that makes me your producer, Kevo. You can find me at Kevo Really. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment so we know what you want us to cover in the future. But today, while I sound like Sophia Bush, we are going to be covering...
Recently gay Sophia Bush!
Just say congratulations on
That's
coming out!
right! Just in time
Welcome
for
to
Pride.
the family.
Love
I love you
Mama.
forever.
And now we can have her as a judge on future Drag Race, hopefully,
Yes.
on a Snatch Game.
Yes.
Oh, I'd love it. Well, we are here to discuss the annual event of the season, Snatch Game. I got to be honest, Snatch Game of Love, not my version of it, but Snatch Game, always in the mood for some Snatch Game dude. This is our first time talking about Snatch Game live for an All-Stars, I believe. I don't believe we got this in last season. Or did we? We did? Okay. Well, this is our first time getting to talk about it with...
We weren't as hype yet. Now we're super hype.
Yeah, now we're super hype. Now it's... we went from Jimbo to Jumbo. This is a big deal. We're very excited. And I would like to bring to Lestage, our very own newest correspondent to the world of drag, if she be ready. I don't know why I'm saying this a little bit like a pirate. But it's
Oh, I know why.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, we all know why.
But let's do it. Let's...
Oh, no. Because there is a very special surprise for us today from our correspondent, Tori Sheehan. Come on down.
Oh, hello. I heard we were doing the Snatch Game of Liberace, so I had to come down.
Oh my God.
I am
obsessed.
Criminally obsessed with
Work diva.
With our very own Liberace. This is incredible. I thought we only got 2s, but we got 3s. This is thrice Liberace'd. Damn, I want to step up my game now. I should have done costumes. I feel so silly.
Literally, I said, she came to me and was like, what will they say? And I was like, they're going to say we need to step our pussies up.
Yeah,
I'm actually not saying that. I'm lazy and like showing up in a hoodie.
Tori, in this week's Snatch Game, your Liberace was liberating. Congratulations, you're this week's challenge winner.
Winner.
We had a badge.
Tori, dinner. Very, very excited. So impressed. You are absolutely the snatchiest. I'm incredible. All right. Well, now we can do this for real. Okay. I want to start with...
Get my reading glasses on.
like Kirk in The Wrath of Khan. So I want to start with number 1. I don't love Snatch Game of Love by format. There's things I like about it, like... you know, I'll even say Trinity's Caitlyn Jenner, right? That was who it was?
Malibu!
Yeah, Trinity's Caitlyn Jenner was super fun. I'm a big fan of Shea Coulee's unforgettable Flava Flav.
Yes.
My absolute favorite Snatch Game of Love character, except for a character that Tori has not seen yet, so I'm trying to be real nice about it, but there is something in Season 8's Snatch Game of Love that is literally one of the best things in the history of Snatch Game.
The good news is, Tori probably will not recognize anybody in there.
No, I won't. You could literally be like, this character, and I literally be like, yep, that's a character.
Well, that's one of the things that always throws me about Snatch Game is I have such difficulty sometimes keeping track of which girl is which character.
Yeah, that's why I had to double check. So, okay, that is my question for you all. How do you all feel about Snatch Game of Love? Do you guys think it's an adorable good time, or do you just think it's a dirty old man?
My thing is, I appreciate doing something different, thinking outside the box, maybe taking a little time to give the queens, you know, the smaller panel gives everybody a little bit more spotlight. It's been going on a while. and I don't feel like it works. I really like the innovation of the idea, but like if we're doing, it feels like they really feel that the brand of Snatch Game is important, so they did Snatch Game of Love, like, you know, like, because they still had to have Snatch in there, but they needed to make game happen.
I think they were afraid Rue couldn't pronounce Love Connection.
Yeah, like
she had just gotten filler.
You know, like Snatch Gong Show. I don't know. Like I
Hollywood Snatch. Hollywood Snatch.
I desperately want them to, and actually, I did think that Hollywood Squares could be a really interesting format. I'm so glad you brought
Wheel of
that
Faggots.
That's us.
Yeah, that's we're doing that. That's happening right now.
I call Vanna.
I desperately want them to pick another game show to emulate to make this happen.
Yeah.
I just think that this is
Family Feud.
And that's actually, I mean, again, that's another one because the drag queens have been on there, and it's also a show that, you know, we do Celebrity Family Feud. But again, it feels like the resistance is that you can't say Snatch Family Feud.
Well, where did we just do it? Where did we just do that Family Feud style episode?
UK versus the world.
Yeah, we just did that weird Snatch Family Feud. I'm sorry, what do they call it over there? Fighting Families.
Which it was weird.
Fanny Family Feud.
It was weird, but it was also, I think this worked better than Snatch Game of Love works. I think everybody did better for themselves and for their brands than the girls end up doing in Snatch Game of Love.
Hold on. Are you telling me, because now I'm thinking about it, are you telling me there were 2 Manny Pacquiao's this year? There were 2 Shirley Temples this year? There were 2 Liberace's this year?
Yeah.
And we had the episode where there were 2 Jennifer Coolidges this year?
That's correct.
Well, we had
the
two
gays
Shirley
are running
Temples
out of
in a row
references.
And too many Pacquiao's. We did have too many Pacquiao's this year, but the Shirley Temples were back-to-back years.
They were year-to-year Shirley Temples, so one of them by now is
It's
a Shirley Temple
all-
Black. Got it.
It's all too close in the end.
Wow. Okay. First of all, I will never get over how much I love that Tia Coffee look. I will spend the rest of my life so impressed with Tia, just really, truly holding her own head. Really, no complaints. I could not be a bigger fan. But generally, I think, I'm with TK. Snatch Game of Love is not where my heart is at. Jonah, how do you feel about Snatch Game of Love as a format? Is that something that you think holds up the tenets of Snatch Game? Or do you feel maybe that something's a little snatched away? By the way, my least favorite Fran Drescher impression I have ever seen, and I live in New Jersey.
I think
mine.
I've seen it at Halloween, my love.
I think Snatch Game is getting away from Snatch Game. There is no more sanctity. There is nothing left to be sanctimonious about Snatch Game, because at this point, Snatch Game has nothing to do with what it was initially conceived to be. Snatch Game is supposed to be an improv character impersonation challenge, but at this point, they got rid of the impersonation part of it, and you just need to be funny, which is fine. But this, I don't know, holier than thou attitude that you have to be able, your impression has to be spot on. No, it doesn't, apparently, because you don't have to have a well tight snatch when it comes to your character impression for you to succeed in Snatch Game. That's fine. I'm only complaining in the sense of, don't call it an impersonation challenge if it has nothing to do with that. To segue into what you're talking about, Snatch Game of Love, it's fine. I don't like it as much. I understand, as TK said, you gotta shake up the format. You gotta add some new elements. You gotta stir the pot a little bit. You gotta add some fresh and new ideas. Even though this is now, I think, stale. And I think if they're just gonna do Snatch Game, it just has to be regular Snatch Game, unless they are gonna do different game shows. Snatch Game of Love, I think, takes away one of the biggest things you could have in improv, which is more people to bounce off of. And I think, as we saw with this episode, and I don't mean this to come for anybody, but Nina was situated between two people who were not doing well, and it made Nina look considerably better. Not that Nina needed help, but it is one of those where there's less to hide behind, and maybe in that regard it's better. But I prefer the everybody is there. You have more people to bounce off of, more people to respond with, more people to volley with.
I just want to say how right you are, that you really pointed something out to me, that one of the beautiful things about Snatch Game is the yes and this replaces half of your people with a wall. And that is so unmissable. Really great way to look at the staging, JoJo.
But I will also say, sorry.
Everybody's so excited.
It also takes away Rue. You can't, if Rue doesn't come up to you and has a moment. You don't have that anymore. There's very little interaction with Rue outside of the entrances and exit.
And it takes away another form, a chance of making people laugh. You're not writing down any of your answers. Half of the time in regular Snatch Game is the things that they write and how you write it. And it's like, I just kind of
you lose a contestant.
And you interact directly with the celebrity impersonations. The person on the other side of that wall doesn't know who you are, so they couldn't make Lassie jokes. They didn't know. Why would they think you were Lassie?
Why would they think you're Dame Lassie of the grand stage? TQ had something, and then we all just got so excited.
No, mine was just like it. In some ways, it could be okay because some people are terrible improvers, but that doesn't mean they're not funny, and they can be funny in other ways. So I even could get down with the idea of this is a different kind of comedy challenge from Snatch Game, which is like, oh my God, which is just pure improv. But that doesn't justify that this isn't to me the best incarnation. And more than that, this doesn't feel like the All-Stars level up. Okay, you did this show, you showed us that you can show up for Snatch Game such that we want you back, or, that you bombed and so this is your redemption. Now here's where you have to take to the next level. I love the shot, by the way, that we got of Vanjie, because it almost looks like she's giving the Nazi salute.
Yes, I also noticed that.
I keep seeing it, and I just keep thinking, I don't know. I feel like she could get drunk, and it'd happen.
I want to get into how much I enjoyed things about this Snatch Game. I want to start with one of the things that I do actually love about Snatch Game more than anything. Like, OG Snatch Game is when the girls are like, kind of like, "Are you funny? Oh no! Oh, so girl, you think you're funny, huh?" And like you get that barbing in the workroom. Everybody here kind of knows everybody's level, so everybody kind of comes in and they're sort of like, "Oh, so you're funny and you're not funny," and so like the roles are kind of predetermined for them in that way, which is
then like Angeria bombed her Snatch Game.
And that is always the risk you run. And so, like, one of the things that I thought was a little bit interesting here, and somebody can come for me on this, but I think I want to talk to Roxy for a second. If we could go to Roxy, Miss Tasha Salad, I want to say that this is actually my first ding. She did a great job. But, like, one of the things, if you've ever seen Cabaret, is Sally kind of needs to be, yikes. You should be worried about Sally. It should always be that, like, she is such a fucking mess that you can't believe that she held herself together with glue and faggots this entire time. And so, like, when somebody like Mariah Carey does the breakdown video where she casts herself as this glamorous version of Sarah Parker Bowles, nope, that's not it. It's Sally Bowles.
Sally Bowles.
Right? I do that all the time. I grew up in a very Princess Diana era. When you go there, you wind up with this situation where this was an endearing character because she sucked, like in a sweet way. And like, oh my God, you're laughing with her. It's so silly. It's so dumb that she's doing this character. This is too glowed up. It misses what made the character endearing, like casting somebody exquisitely beautiful and exquisitely talented and keeping them that high and not make-upping them down and kind of like trashing them up a little bit to make them the perfect Sally. This could have been great, but she tried to tell us that Tasha's beautiful, and that like doesn't work for me. The character sucks. Do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also not a celebrity. Like this gets us into like, are we doing celebrity impersonations? Are we just winging in a prayer in it? Last time she did Alaska, which was an unmitigated disaster. This is clearly
she did. I don't remember that.
This is clearly not Roxy's challenge, but also she's Roxy Andrews. She's here to make it clear. This is one of those moments where I'm like, Roxy, for all I know that you are, again, I always say this, she is the drag queen's favorite drag queen. And for all I see, you put so much effort into certain things. It's been like well over a decade, girl. Take a comedy class, sit down with anybody and get told, here's how you do it. Here's an impression that we know works for you. You have had time to workshop this. How long did you have to prepare? This felt like Alaska all over again, in that it was just like, oh, this is not her thing. She's kind of panic choosing what she thinks she can get away with.
And maybe she sells t-shirts of this.
Yeah, like she might have also just been eating a loss and being like, if I can get the character back, you might absolutely be right about that. And maybe she's brilliant for that. I love her. Exactly. I think she is such a hard competitor, but I do see this as a weak point for her. And I was sort of bummed that she didn't come in with the attitude of like, of course, this is not quite for me. Here's how I hacked it to give you a little something in a realm that that is not for me.
I want her to do Raquel Welch's grape juice sangria and come out like a sexy the Kool-Aid man. I just think that is like the ultimate. Get out of here. How did you guys feel about Tasha Salad?
I thought it was fine. She did fine.
Over here, the number one Liberace, just giving out love.
Sorry, I enjoyed her. It was fine. It wasn't great. She stumbled a little bit, but it was fine.
I do agree it was fine. I'm not willing to accept fine from Roxy Andrews for her third
on an
Snatch
All-Stars.
game.
Unless it's like, fine, damn.
Yes.
Well.
I saw someone make a comment that a really good idea would have been like, what if this is Tasha Salad? Literally, she's just wilted. She's so old at this point. The green shouldn't be this fresh. Like that's
elevate.
Pardon the irony. A fresh take on the idea of Tasha Salad. I saw a lot of clamoring and banging pots and pans about this idea of like a couple people didn't really do well, and we'll get to a little bit more about the people who really didn't do well. I thought Roxy did fine, but this idea of like punishment of like, because this is non-elimination and it's for charity, that
kudos for giving.
There isn't a reason for the people who didn't do well, and it's not because they got nervous or couldn't do something. It felt like, well, I have the look. I don't need to do any more. This isn't my gig. It's on elimination. Why do I care? And it's one of those things of when you're going to do non-elimination and you know exactly what challenges you're getting, I really wish we had a little more all-arounders that could do well, because at the end of the day, I want to be entertained. And I know that Tori didn't get to it, so I'm going to keep it very spoiler-free as much as I can. All-Star 7 works because most of those people do well at the competition, and it makes sense. Here, we had a couple people who were standouts and a couple people who had some redemption, but there are still a couple people here that I was like, you didn't learn anything. You didn't take an improv class. You didn't, it's such a shame that there's skill that is I wouldn't say very easily, that can be learned and can be practiced and has many classes for adults out there. It's such a shame that the skill is so niche and you can't find those things. Damn. Oh, well.
It's not Lesagamo.
That is, honestly, I would say it's an odd part of Chi-Chi misspelling Maya Angelou, but that was hysterical. That, I don't know what Georges is doing.
All right, so let's sink into this team. Number one, I want to say something I love about this Liberace look. Chanel's Liberace look. I'm not like the world's biggest Liberace gay, but like I do love me some Liberace. Like I know the character well. I did not think Chanel really channeled the character, though looked the part in a way that, like, if you combine the two Liberaces, they both pale in comparison to ours. But if you combine the two Liberaces, you sort of get, I think, what Tori Amos would look like as a drag queen if her piano came to life and made her like a drag queen. Like if Tori Amos's piano was her symbiote. It's somewhere in there. I think what kind of kills me about it is that Chanel is from an era of Drag Race that I do actually think it's really not fair to Chanel on the left in a lot of ways, because she is so talented and so funny and so brilliant. But
She is beautiful.
She is beautiful.
She's
Week
stunning.
after week, we should tell her that. And she's just sort of playing a game that's a little bit not what Rue is grading by anymore, I feel like. Her Liberace was so about like doing like an on-stage performance. She was really connecting with the character, being an artist, and Rue wants jokes. And I just feel like Chanel is playing at a game that maybe isn't exactly what Drag Race is these days. Drag Race is about Rue telling you to do your art in a specific way, and I think Chanel still wants to be that yeah, and like kick high and be like a rock girl. Suede's gonna rock it and stuff. And I think Chanel sometimes isn't given a favorable edit by producers, and I just don't think it's exactly fair. And I think how flat her Liberace felt and the weird judging, except from Anita, who I guess isn't familiar with Liberace.
I loved it.
Jesus Christ, sorry.
I loved it.
I think it was good. I think it was better than the judges maybe even said. I'd probably put her fourth. I think she was probably fourth best of the night in terms of just challenge alone. If you take everything else, arguably you can move stuff around if you want to include runway packages. There was a lot of nuance to her performance, which is great, but Snatch Game, I think, favors the bigger, the bolder, the go for it. And it also felt a little bit, she sacrificed a little bit of the more ha-ha funny for the nuance, which is a little more theater, Vegas, showgirl showmanship, which is amazing.
Art.
Chanel did amazing if this was strictly based off of just a funny interpretation, as opposed to what Snatch Game asked for. And I thought she did great tonight. I really, really did. I don't know if I was the same as our guest judge Anita's, like my favorite of the night was, had me pissing my pants like Rue does. But I do agree with you, Nico. The show is doing Chanel a disservice, and it's really unfortunate because Chanel is very entertaining and very fun to watch and amazing at drag. And the show doesn't really seem interested in her, which is wild because they invited her. I don't know how to comprehend this. They brought her to neg her to not showcase her. I don't know.
Sometimes that's what they want.
I think they're also kind of leaving the three older queens to their own devices, and they're sort of letting the idea that they are the older queens be the entirety of the brand. And it's also like they're relying a lot every week on the girls hyping each other up and sorting each other out. I'm eliminating you because you are the best competition. I really look up to you. We're all breaking into cliques. Plastique loves Roxy, blah, 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 blah. And it seems like there is real interest from production in Angeria, Georges, Plastique as contenders. But then for everybody else, it's kind of roll your own and figure it out for yourselves. I also want to say, I think both Liberaces were Paul Lind.
You mean Ben de la Creme?
Well, yeah, by all means.
I have to admit that I tried out a Liberace voice in the mirror, and it was just Paul Lind.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but also I feel like if you were like, I'm doing Liberace and I'm putting in this much effort, you can see enough Liberace and compare it to enough Paul Lind to know that it doesn't have. They're not the same character. Like it doesn't.
But you can kind of do like Paul Lind on a roller coaster and get Liberace. You can there.
Yes, I would have tried harder to make both of them Liberace. That was really why I don't have a ton to say about either of them, and that is specifically why, because I really appreciate the effort they put into the looks. But I mean, everybody is just kind of doing what they wanted to do. In the case of Gottmik, it really ended up working out. And in the case of Angeria is the only person to me who successfully executed the assignment of Snatch Game.
That was my literal comment to Tori. Yeah. I felt like several of these people did not complete the assignment as assigned. Yeah. And I wanted to say, this Marla Gibbs impression is so loving. It's so kind. It is so on brand for what Angeria delivers. I maybe didn't get the most Marla Gibbs from it.
And they even mentioned that.
Yeah.
They were like, this is
It's
not Marla Gibbs from Chicago. This is Marla Gibbs from the South, which is very forgiving. Again,
Yes.
It's like, this is not Liberace. This is what if Paul Lynde were dressing as Liberace.
And Kevin, what you got?
I don't so much have a question as I do a visual.
Yes. Ooh.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She went from this to this. The glow up is out of control.
We don't need that glow. It's not funny.
No, you made it like you were like, what if she was just pretty like me? And and you're beautiful.
But I'm looking at all the old glamour shots from the premiere that I have, and that one caught my eye, and I was like, yeah, she's just trying to be pretty. And then you should have just picked a pretty character, is the thing.
Yep.
And, but like to that end, I want to talk about picking pretty people because I'm sure we're going to circle back to all of these, especially because I'm going to keep bringing up how great our Liberace looks. But I mean, I don't know. When she wins the Tony in the first half of the show, you still bring it up in the second half, But I felt complicated about the Marla Gibbs impression because it did fit the assignment. But you know what else technically fit the assignment? I guess Plastique. I think she technically fit the assignment.
The difference is Plastique was not ever funny.
No, but she did it.
Counter. When she said beef, just out of nowhere, beef. That was funny, but that was the only thing that was funny.
True. Okay, fair.
But she did a celebrity.
Yes.
Vaguely a version of the celebrity.
Yeah.
But you know what I feel like? And I'm just saying this right now because I want it out there.
Yeah.
If Angeria came in and was like, I'm friends with Marla Gibbs, so I'm going to do Marla Gibbs, we all would have been like, name dropping. Okay. But when Plastique was like, I'm kind of friends with Ali Wong, I kind of think everybody went, so you're just doing your famous friend while Gottmik's here.
Well, and I love which queen was it who was like, Ali's going to see this, right? Like,
I mean...
Yes. I hope you're friends with Ali Wong, because if you weren't before, you're not now.
I will say the look is pretty spot on.
Yeah.
Like if you take away the name, I would know it's Ali Wong, which is great.
Yeah.
Again, this is it goes back to the idea of like punishment for doing bad. It did feel like Plastique kind of gave up a little bit towards the end, and it's kind of like, well, what does it matter? Nobody's going home. I wasn't going to win this anyway, so why try? And that's where I maybe have a little bit of a problem, because this is a challenge that at this point is tradition. At some point, if you make it far enough on Drag Race, whether you're there at All Stars or whether you're there for a regular season, for a main season, you're going to be playing Snatch Game. Oh, yeah. Yes, I fully understand. We have not done Snatch Game, and Queens have talked about it is very hard. You're there for at least an hour or 2 hours. Everything is blaring. There is no soundtrack music. There is nothing. You're literally have to go off of is Rue laughing at me or not, and that's it. And it's also difficult to come up with things on the spot. I'm not going to say improv is easy. I'm not going to say having a quick wit is easy. But this is a trainable skill. You can teach yourself, and it feels like I was just a little bit let down because, especially with season 11 Snatch Game, where Plastique didn't really stand out, I was really hoping like, okay, you've come back for All Stars, you've been off air for 5 years, 6 years. What are you doing? Like, how did you glow up?
How did you not ask Ali Wong to write you a few jokes to be your friend Ali Wong?
If that was your choice before you came here, yeah.
Or ask your drag mother, Alyssa Edwards. Ask anybody else.
No, ask somebody who can get through an entire sentence.
She did very serviceable as Joan Crawford.
And I love Alyssa Edwards.
I will say
that sometimes she says gnarly stuff.
She does have the most iconic Snatch Game because she was told by Rue, after you go home, you need to tweet an apology to Katy Perry.
Which it turns out she should not have had to do because cute Katy Perry. Anyway, this to the idea of fitting the assignment, you've got a celebrity character and you've got to do the celebrity impression, and it has to be funny. She got a celebrity character and she did the impression really well. She was not funny. Angeria had all three, even if you have the slightly southern thing. And then I think we kind of, from there, everybody else is missing one of those things, including, star of the night, Got Mick, which gets to the point of like sometimes deciding that you're not going to follow the rules does pay off. If you know what you need to do and you just ask for forgiveness instead of permission, sometimes that works. I think for Gottmik it worked. For Tasha, it did not. And you can see exactly why and how.
The other thing I kind of want to comment on about this costume, Gottmik said, I am a conceptualizing artist. This week's challenge was a tail and two titties. This week's challenge,
talking about that is a whole other. I want to get through Snatch Game before we talk about
1,000%. But this week's challenge was be slightly animal.
Yeah,
and this performer came ready to do that on 2 levels.
Yeah,
so there was no part of this Snatch Game of Love that Gottmik did not theme to the overall situation. In fact,
I love that read.
This even gave Got the opportunity to showcase dexterity, whereas, and we're going to get into it, but I feel like some of the looks kind of wound up running the sort of like somebody went into Chat GPT and said, tell me what kind of animal to be, and possibly
oh my god, is that Cleopatra?
I'll let you get up in this.
So they tell the all-stars like what challenge, what runway will be together.
They give him a dossier of all the runways. There'll be plenty that aren't used. So typically, especially on like the main season when there's elimination, in the What You Packin' episodes, where Michelle will kind of go through, you'll see a couple of different runways that didn't make air, that weren't going to make air. Some were for later challenges they just didn't make it that far. But for challenges, they're told Snatch Game, and if there is a rusical where they make them bring a costume, specifically stuff like the Divas Live or the Baddest Bitches in Herstory, where they were like, you need to bring a costume of this person. They know they need that for some reason. They don't tell them specifically what it is.
Mm-hmm. So, but they
don't know. They don't necessarily know the combo. They don't necessarily know that Tale of Two Titties is going to be the same night as Snatch Game. They know, bring this list of costumes, and then they are told.
Gotcha.
But I imagine there's some amount of time that they know how stuff is going to shake out to organize their material, at least the all-stars.
That's a fair question. That's something we don't know quite the specifics of. I could absolutely see you being right, and especially, again, for all-stars, that being a thing. I could also see it being really up to the wire for production in terms of what look is going to work for the schedule, for the filming schedule that they have and for everything that they have to do, such that it is, I think it's very possible that even if they were given a menu of like, it's going to be this challenge on this day before arriving, when they get there, I could see it being different just based on production needs.
I do want to wrap this part up, but I want to say 2 things, and I problematically think that Raven is like one of the greatest contestants in the history of Drag Race. I mean,
I'm with you.
Bar none. I think Raven is perhaps one of the greatest contestants in any reality show ever. Love of my fucking life. I never thought I would be this in love with Raven, and I am. I have some questions because I would say this about anybody, and so I just feel like I really need to. I love her. Can does order on like a good top single thing you're looking for a bad one, right? And I am a little concerned about it. But
could you lean in? You've been muddy this for that whole point.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Am I clear up now? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. You're good. Thank you.
Awesome. I was saying that Raven uses so much spray tan, she is starting to look like a former member of a girl group doing a rap jam with Nicki Minaj, but that is neither here nor there. It was so great seeing 2 girls that I love showing their boy selves, because Kevin is fucking hot. And he's the second hottest legally named Kevin on this show at the moment. But, it was great seeing Monet. It was great seeing Raven. And it is that sort of family that, oh my God, and that Gucci shirt is every fucking thing to me. It is that sort of family vibe that is what keeps me coming back to this franchise. It gets me to watch Pit Stop. It gets me to watch What You Packin'. It gets me in the mood for food. because they're serving.
Yes.
Oh, love it.
Okay, well, I guess no one else. Let's get to the.
I mean, if you want to talk about
Georges,
which was something, Tori, would you like to take the lead on this one?
I don't want to talk about this.
Oh
This is.
my God.
I will.
Well,
Kevin, go ahead.
What is your lead on this? Did you love this as well?
Oh no.
I mostly just look. It was a cute, fun character that was kind of just her being herself. I really don't get male gender flipped drag Snatch Game characters sometimes. Even ones that really work and are popular, like when Anitra does one that Tori will get to later, and I'll let her get to that rather than say who it is. Everyone else loved it. I still feel like there's such a risk, and I don't know. There's so many people out there in the world. Well, and then I don't really understand how this was John Leguizamo in so many ways.
Because it's
That's
referencing,
what I hit on.
It's referencing the Tu Wong Fu character, but there's nothing about it that is the Tu Wong Fu character.
Where's the little boy drag? Why are you crying? I am a drag queen crushing a cup.
Exactly.
If it snows outside, I'm going to put him on my tires. Like,
God damn, Jonah, I'm impressed.
And I agree. Yeah, for me, it was. I see very little John Leguizamo in this. Like at least when Ben de la Creme did Maggie Smith as Downton Abbey, like there was still Maggie Smith in there.
Yes.
And I did not get that here.
I will say the one thing I did note from this, and I wondered about this in the context of the whole thing and everything we're talking about, this is one of very few times where the person says, I'm doing John Leguizamo, but I'm referencing this character. And they say that on the show because, as we pointed out before, the reason why they are always doing celebrity impersonations, even when Ben de la Creme is actually doing the Dowager from Downton Abbey, they never say that because then you have to start possibly paying for rights to use the character. So I thought it was fascinating that they, specifically pointed to this is what Georges would be doing. And then she, of course, did not execute that at all. This has sort of been my fundamental problem with Georges since her season. Being hot and dumb is a brand in and of itself, and I love that brand, and I love how she embraces it. No, I'm sorry. You're very, very smart. You're a big walking Godzilla from time to time, but you're a very smart Godzilla.
Read him.
That's what we're here for.
You want these back?
Georges's brand of dumb sometimes becomes inexcusable on this show to me. And it just frustrates me because she gets such high praise, which is deserved for a lot of stuff she does. But I do feel queens who are at Georges's level, who have failed in front of Rue before, have gotten a really harsh, get out of your head, stop being dumb, get better at this thing, and then you will conquer the world. Where she gave such a light, she always gives such a light and loving hand to Georges, and I guess that's great. Not everybody deserves Rue's abuse, but it's just sometimes I get so frustrated with her because I do think she can really do anything, and when she just bombs something like this, I feel like it's just her doing that, I don't know, I don't even know what that is.
Well, and it's funny because you said that, and I'm thinking about it, and I looked it up because I'm never sure how old any of these queens are, if they're telling the truth about their ages or not.
She's a child.
She is. She's 24. I did not realize that it is not an excuse if you are going to continue being at this level of performance on this competition and come back on an All-Stars 9. But that is something that I realized is maybe because I'm thinking about Rue asking, what's your name? Oh, how old are you? And then
Hollywood
when she
Star,
found out
right?
when she found out she was 38 on Down Under or whatever season
Hollywood
it was.
Star.
We watched
Hollywood Star, yeah.
That was it? Okay. Oh, that's the name. I thought you were saying that was the season.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I don't know what season
Down
it
Under.
was.
That's her
The
name.
queen from Down Under is Hollywood Star. Yes. You nailed it.
Yeah. And so she takes into consideration, are you actually still very young in this? But like, if you've come up in drag culture, I don't treat someone who grew up as a child star the same way as someone I would treat who started acting when they were 20.
I do agree with that. And I don't mean that like, because I kind of think like you look to those people as elder statespeople, and that's something that I give this person a lot of shit throughout the course of Drag Race. But like, Aquaria never did anything less than try to speak from a mature place. I know sometimes she maybe didn't come across the most warm or the most fun, even like there were cuts that didn't make her seem like she was a lot of energy, but she was never less than super mature because she took being a indoctrinated young club kid very seriously.
She never let herself get caught out seeming stupid because she was young and wouldn't know better. We can forgive it. We can always forgive it if you're like, oh, I mean, it's Mirage not knowing Dark Lady because she's so young and she just doesn't necessarily, she hasn't gotten to the stage in her gay career where you discover you have to know a bunch of Cher. Like, it's just part of gay culture.
Clack!
I still love Mirage. I can totally forgive her. I think that was really funny. But Aquaria is a really good example of somebody who I'm sure there was shit she didn't know at that time. You know, she was so young. She was not fully gay
21,
educated.
I think.
Yeah.
Yes, Aquaria was 21. I mean, she's been in the clubs for years at that point.
Yeah.
Sneaking in.
But she never let herself get caught out. She never allowed
constant boy hair.
Let's see now. Georges, Gigi Good, Plastique, Aquaria, Naomi, Layla, Max, Violet, Serena, Kenya, LaShawn, Tyra, Tatiana were all 21 when they filmed.
Okay.
And only one of them threatened to take down a drag con.
I mean, just like those are your that's your 21-year-old.
Safe word.
Children,
Who among us?
like.
Safe word, frack! Safe word, frack!
And even some of those people, a lot of that, I think, comes down to the area you grow up in, the queens you're around. You haven't gotten to her yet, Tori. You'll get her in the next main season you watch. But someone like Mistress Isabel Brooks, who is younger, but because she grew up in the very Texas pageant drag scene, she's very enmeshed in drag culture, and so has a lot of different references than somebody the other young competitors that were her peers and she was competing with. I will say to positive for Georges, rewatching as I was grabbing the screen caps for this, she was trying to do a lot of reacting to things. She was reacting a lot more, and I was like, okay, I can see where the wheels were turning a little bit. But I do appreciate the effort of her saying, okay, I'm on stage, I'm in character, and she was just trying to react as much as possible to give something. And I do respect that she was going for it.
And she also took
that I love.
notes.
Yes.
I just want to see her take it from the webinar to the in-person Upright Citizens Brigade class, because I think like if she does a Versus the World, she could maybe be really funny playing Michelle Visage. Like, I think she could do something within the brand that is endearing. Because nobody bombed this. Truly, we're getting some shit. Literally, nobody bombed this. There have been Snatch Games where, like, I regretted watching it. But, like, this, everybody did really fine.
And this is kind of like the scissors. The compliment of, I'm reading you a little bit because, again, Roxy comes to mind. I think Roxy is so great that when I'm like, I didn't love Tasha Salad, what I'm really saying is like, I know that you could give a winning Snatch Game performance.
Yes.
Get up off your butt and do to the
do
best.
Because I wanna laugh
ability.
and remember you forever.
Roxy, we want to get on your bus.
How many queens would have loved to have been on this season of All Stars, and you did this?
Yeah.
You know,
I can think of one who wanted to be on and is surprised that she wasn't called for this season when she's been called for every elimination. I'm talking about
Kimberly
Chin.
Kimberly Chian.
Oh,
I was
man,
gonna-
that interview was great.
I was going to mention that. I was also going to mention Evie Oddly going
off on season 7.
Yeah, which I think is actually really kind of important context to this season now. Because I think the wildest thing that she said that I really just did not even think could have been a possibility was that they actually did get a lot of bad critiques that were never aired, and that they edited the show to look like it was
Rainbows and Sunshines.
Makes me
Yeah.
very scared and sad.
It's a bummer. It's really wild because
maybe
it feels, I'm not sure if that happened for this season too, where they got bad critiques and they're cutting them out, or if they realized that people responded well to that with
I did not think people respond well to it. I saw the
I don't know.
opposite.
It's a weird thing. I shouldn't say it like it's definitely happening. I notice that fans and a certain type of fan gets really nervous about the cuntiness on the show.
Well,
Say TikTokers.
You often do, Nico. You are
I've
on
moved
my
past
list.
it. I'm cuntier.
You have grown into it.
You've been in your own drag dressing room, and you learned there how to cut up and be like, no, this is how you talk to one another. This is how
Yeah.
you show love and respect.
I
cut
do
up
want
a
to say.
little.
I want to say
There's a
one thing
line, but yeah.
about that I wonder if Tori will maybe shine a little bit more with me on this. I hear you all talking about the way they think the audience reacts. I don't think they give a shit. I think you can't get some of these girls to say yes if they're going to get torn apart when that's going to kill their booking rate. I just
Hurting
don't
cats.
think some of these girls are coming here to be told they look fugly. I just don't think they're coming here to be told they look fat on stage. I just don't think they're doing it when they are looking for their booking rate to go up.
Yeah, this was the question that I asked about cornbread. Oh, wow.
Yes.
When I watched that, I was like, oh, because I have a sheet that I track my queens on. We'll get to it later. But
Got it.
I had her in there, and I had gone ahead and written in if someone came back in a next season, and she didn't have that next to her. And I was like, there's been like 3 seasons since. Like, what's going on? And then I got some more tea and I got some more ideas. But I think it's part of that. I think it's part of why we probably won't see Adore Delano on this again.
You were like real mean.
Oh, right. So
Adore is a uniquely different story only because I think part of Adore's problem was that she needed to transition. She needed to have that journey. I think Adore actually is more poised to come back than ever.
I believe she almost came back for All-Star 6.
Yeah, was that where they couldn't clear the talent?
Yes,
Yeah.
I believe she was supposed to be on All-Star 6, and then there was some reason, I don't know the full reason.
It's because she wanted to do fire eating.
Which is interesting, because we did get something similar on one of the UK versus the world.
Yeah.
But that's
Fire
UK
eating-
versus the world.
That is very true.
British
That's
people
filming in
fear
the UK.
nothing.
listen, I've
except spices.
auditioned Fire Eaters before, and it is not something you lie about on your resume for a role in the wild. Let me tell you.
It's not Joey
It
doing
is
the
not.
Tyler Tharp dance.
No, you really gotta know what you're doing, or you will die.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate how everybody blew past my impression of the boogeyman earlier. Thank you.
But yeah,
Good time today.
Tori, your point stands. Adore is what I felt like I had to say it because I really am
No,
hoping.
I don't know enough.
Yeah.
Once
well, and
again, that's why I'm here.
I live in eternal hope that Adore gets that moment and we get another full season of her, because I do to this day find her endlessly charming and fascinating.
I think about her season 6. I'm the biggest star, and I can't sing.
Yeah.
I think about that maybe like once a week. It's really good. Like the fact that they've never done another live musical since is a crime.
No, it's not a crime, because this past season I would not have been standing around listening to the spoken word girl rap version of Les Mis, okay? One
Just
person
because
could
you
sing
don't
this last season.
Just because you don't think we're equal doesn't mean
Doesn't mean
I'm
we're
any
not
less
all
equal.
equal.
Oh my god,
Oh,
that
God.
was so rough.
You'll get there, Tori. You'll get there.
You'll be sad about it though.
And we, by the way, we barely
So
talked
I'm
about
sad
Vanjie at
about it.
all.
That it's Vanjie the Yes.
Which
That's about it.
Rue said to do, and I think she started off strong, but similar to Plastic, kind of just gave up. Like she, also like part of the whole point of Snatch Game of Love is you're not supposed to know who they are. She's like, well, I'm Cleopatra.
That knows me now.
Okay, Vanjie.
I
Like there was no
know.
joke about an asp. No, nothing about like she made what the pyramid joke was funny,
So
But then, like, no Mark Anthony, no Caesar, like, no, literally nothing.
Nope.
no, saying you gotta
I
hang out,
invented
you gotta
makeup.
call my mommy to make it work or
It's
something.
sort of
Yeah.
like if you hear. There's only like if you hear a certain accent, there's only two people that could be on the other side of the. Oh, three people. It could be Marina Sirtis, Madonna, or Jane Seymour. Like if you hear that accent, it's one of those three women and no one else in the world, right? But like other than that, there's supposed to be a little fucking mystery. And like, first of all, Vanjie comes out. It does not matter what Vanjie says. Vanjie can be like, "I am not Miss Vanjie," and we would all be like, "That's Miss Vanjie."
I do love. I remember what her catchphrase used to be: "Get these cookies."
I did love when
She was the Cookie Monster.
I did love when Plastique was like, "That's what they exchange."
I know that giggle. That's what they
I
exchange.
know that giggle.
Okay.
Oh, I love Pussy.
Right, this is such a great episode of people to talk about, even if the season is a little uneven. I am so in love with Raven.
That's Raven.
If we can look at those
Run through the
runways,
runway and then we'll go back.
Yeah.
Cool, but I'm gonna run through first.
I want to say Angeria stunning. Everybody, Angeria stunning. Oh God, so fast.
I'll go back to the beginning. Just keep talking about Angeria.
I think Angeria looked so good. But Jonah, you had an amazing reference.
It looked, and Tori, you would actually have a lot more like this in your mind. It reminded me of Bosco's finale look. Bosco had the blue dragon look, and so like Angeria's the red one. And now I want to see all that top five.
Yeah, I also was thinking of the Shrek dragon for this one, but
very similar. She gave Donkey the suck, and I had a really interesting moment seeing that scene that got animated, and I had a moment.
I also want to point out that this kind of reminds me of some of the unbelievable looks we just saw from, oh my God, Marina this past season in, was it UK versus the World season 2? Marina, one of the most unfucking forgettable performers, one of the most unbelievable performers in the history of Drag Race. It blew my mind. Also, just shout out to Melinda.
That's Canada 4.
I know, but it's just that their names are so
I know, but he's still gonna.
I loved this. No real notes. I just think this is Angeria going, because like honestly, just to jump back a second, Vanjie was wearing Party City. And very expensive Party City, top of the line Party City, the premier $259.99 that you have to order on the website Party City, the Party motherfucking City. And this is where I would be afraid Angeria would lean on camp and go Party City, and instead she elevated in a way that really reminds me why she is a premier drag queen.
I agree.
I hate this.
I love that the tail stands up, that they were able to make it stand up without her having to hold it. And that's about as far as I personally like it. This also, like the sheer top with new titty, no, prison, absolute prison, jail.
It's not even
not
actually sheer and nude though, because that's not her skin tone. So it's actually like bubblegum.
No, you're completely
titty?
right.
She'd read someone for this. She'd be like, "Girl, you stung me." Like she would not be into this.
That stung.
That stung.
I think this is very Vanjie. This is her like urban, sleek, like look, very like, and the light up everything. I think this is very.
I agree. If Vanjie was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character, this is exactly what she would look like.
Wow.
Amazing. First off, she would
Tortoise Mattel.
She would say that stinged.
That sting. Oh my God, you king.
You're
gonna get stang.
I'm watching this.
Stang might be in the mix too.
I'm watching this in between AS9 episodes as I'm moving forward, and I just saw the Drag Tots one, and she came out in this, and I went, "She's gonna be a great drag tot."
I agree with Tori. This is such a Vanjie look, and I actually love it. It's just not good for the runway of All Stars 9. Like if I saw, everybody's right about the top. The jacket I think is great. The pants are fine because they go with the jacket. The shoes are fantastic. The hair is really good. Her face is beat. I mean, like on the whole,
Nick up always. She looks great.
Yeah, exactly. And I like if this were part of a show, if I were seeing her live somewhere and this were part of the show, I could see it being really cool. I do think it is just not great for the runway because, as you mentioned, like it's Angeria elevated, and this is just not that. I wish.
Do you think that's because we also saw it as the second Scorpion?
I had that wonderment, but I want to point out that if Kevo, you would go to Chanel for a second, I'm gonna challenge that this is a little bit more Geigerian. This felt a little.
I mean, they're very different. I understand why Chanel was not like, "Oh no, you have a Scorpion," or why Vanjie was like, "Oh no."
This
like,
feels more alien Scorpion to me.
I thought this was really ugly, but I loved how that it was so full. Like it was such a highly realized. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said it looked like
so
Morgan
Vegas.
McMichaels.
It was Vegas. It was so Vegas. It was so big. It was really thought out. It was elevated. I just thought it was ugly. Not even in like a you shouldn't have worn that because it's ugly. In like it's confrontationally.
It's ugly, but I'm impressed.
Yeah, like a scorpion is not beautiful. Like a scorpion is ugly. A scorpion is a monster. It's a fucking alien. I don't want it. This gave a lot of that.
It is a little drag kingy because it
I see
feels
that
it
too.
feels very like muscle bodysuit. Like the corset doesn't feels a little more like a masculine corset.
Yeah.
Even like the darker like hair and makeup that she went with.
Cameron would do a cool version of this in that
right.
regard.
And I don't think that's what she was going for, but
No.
I do love it for that. I will agree.
There's some Mad Maximus to it.
I think they made like a Mad Max joke, and that's also where my brain kind of went. I said Prince of Persia because I was just thinking of The Rock as a scorpion,
Mm-hmm.
but that's a whole different story. That's a conversation for me and my therapist.
Yeah, well,
God bless. We all do
man.
things.
I'm so glad we're
Big
mentioning The Rock.
Conversations.
Kevin, by all means.
I was going to say, speaking of conversations between us and our therapists.
I want to make I don't know. And please somebody talk to me about this.
Okay.
Because
So we're always going to give points. Roxy makes all of her runways. Points, because everything always looks good. And I think when we saw Roxy on All Stars 2, a lot of people focused on her not doing the best in the challenges and her staying for as long as she did. But nobody, I think we really need to talk about how Roxy's All Stars 2 package was phenomenal and out of this world. And she made everything. And now we're here, and I'm still in love with what Roxy does. I don't think that there's anything that Roxy can't do. And she never really looks wrong. But we're now at a point on Drag Race where the caliber is reaching so high, we're not as wowed as we were before. I will say this is probably my favorite runway from Roxy so far. But still, I don't think there's anything it's one of those things where she did nothing wrong. This is the best that this outfit I think could look, this concept. I think other people just outshone her.
I actually want to ding and say I do think she did something a little wrong. I am a little concerned with the coloration on her makeup. We see a lot of coloration leaning darker and darker at times. And I think Roxy is a beautiful Latin woman, and I'm so proud as a Latin person, I am very proud. I feel like this looks a lot like the same kind of makeup styling Saphira did, and I really like what she's going for. I feel that there are things that are a little too exaggerated about it to pull from makeup that belongs to specific cultures. And it gave me a little bit of pause because we had just seen Raven in the scene before, and I had just dinged Raven for the same thing. I think Roxy is a beautiful dark woman, and I am so in love with her and think she's so amazing. I just don't know how I feel about the presentation, and I would love to know more.
I actually, listening to Jonah speak, had the realization of this might be Roxy debuting her transition to a comedy queen. She's going high camp. She's going big. She's doing bolder face, bigger hair. She's transitioning from thick and juicy to thigh slapping, I guess. IDK.
Or
So,
this is her announcing that she is going to be starting an all produce diet. Between
like
chocolate
Santino.
salad
Oh
and
God,
this.
fantastic ideas here.
Like Santino.
Good reference.
I sort of agree with Jonah insofar as like because my standards for Roxy are so high, this didn't wow me. And again, it is the compliment of like all you do is amazing. So like when you come to me with your B+, I'm not gonna gag over it, and I would never want that to indicate that you did anything wrong or bad, or that the critique is like you suck at this. It just, it didn't quite wow me. I don't love this prompt, quite frankly. Unless you're Gottmik, I don't love this prompt. I think it's I don't like when the suggestion of titties comes into the mix. I think girls are gonna wear their plates or they're not. Tail also gets weird. I don't like when the prompt is like just a pun, where it's not like blue ball gown, something that is like clearly an audience member can be like, oh, this means that we're going to see girls in blue ball gowns. When you say a tail of two titties,
a tail and two titties.
Is that what it was?
It's a tail and
two titties.
And the only reason I want to specify is because that's even more vague. That's just titties and a tail.
Right.
Yeah, I honestly thought we'd see more bare asses.
Yeah,
And so I hear what you guys are saying. I actually like when the prompt is so open-ended, because that means anything is possible. I think sometimes with certain categories, we'll see a little bit of references go to certain places that are a little more common, or like they'll think the same thing. I mean, Mick is from this season where everybody had the exact, like two people wore the exact same thing almost every single week, or at some point they did, which was hysterical.
It was just nonstop Madonna challenges.
Well, last week they all wore their face. No, that was AS9. AS9, they all wore their faces in the pop art.
Oh,
yeah.
Guys, I'm so sorry. I meant to say something at the top, and I'm so sorry I forgot to. I just want to say, hey Thorgy, I'm thinking of you today because it's Stevie Nicks' birthday. So I just wanted to. I meant to open the show with that, but I'm always thinking of you, Thorgy.
We should not have let that joke through.
Stevie Nicks' birthday.
It just means my joke was worse.
I don't think it was.
This is everything.
I mean, this is so. When I say I don't like the prompt, Jonah, I think you're right insofar as when it goes great. When prompts are open-ended and it gets interpreted well, I love that. I worry sometimes when it's open-ended and I just see everybody stumble a little bit.
And not in some tails.
Yeah, and not wow me. And so this, like, because even I was so bummed that there's something about Plastiques that just didn't wow me, even though like I did weirdly love it. I love it so much,
I get you.
But like there's
I've
just
seen
something.
It at KatsuCon.
I think it might even be, if I'm gonna get so specific and stupid about it, it might be the smoothness and tone of the breasts. And how it goes up to the face makeup. There's something about it that just isn't quite right to me. And I really do love it so much, but it just weirdly, I don't know. It just gave me.
We're gonna get censored.
There's an alarm. Truly, there's an alarm going off in my head when I look at it, and I don't know what it is. But Gottmik's, like literally life changing. I think one of the highest concept art pieces to show up on Drag Race. Beautiful, horrifying, wonderful. I was actually, the thing that made me most upset about the entire episode, and might be the thing from the season, is that we didn't stop and talk about this.
And the bag with the biohazard.
You know that they're so impressed when they don't make any jokes about this.
Yeah.
Not that they probably would have.
Yeah.
But they were just like, no, it's gorgeous. Love it.
Yeah.
They literally just forego any kind of pun, anything. And they didn't even really talk about it in the critiques, because they didn't even really have to. We all see how amazing like this is. Yeah. And also, let's say this for all the transphobes out there, if a trans person wants to show off their scars, let them show off their scars. Get over it.
Yeah, because I gotta tell you, the
I
number of
love
people
it.
that specifically followed my Instagram when I was doing like nonstop flex shots and would be like, "I love your scars." Like, not that I have trans scars, I have like surgery scars from all of the medical surgeries I had like growing up. And people are super into scars, so like you would be amazed how, not that I'm super into that scene of people like being like, "Oh, your scars are great," but like the amount of acceptance there is out there for all sorts of scars. If you can't make room for this beauty in your heart, then there's something wrong with you. Kind of straight period. And I also just want to say on the subject of like femininity versus masculinity and the idea of what this is presenting, that's straight Tiffany blue. Like that is legitimately one of the most feminine colors in the world, with one of the most feminine eye shapes you can conjure, with the Madonna high pony circa 94.
That's her
This
tail.
is This is meant to summon such feminine identity while contrasting it with the reality and the viscera that men present in things like surgery and things like blood bags. The idea here is blending all forms of gender and trope and forcing you to confront the tail of it. I just think this is one of the best things we've ever seen on the runway ever. I could write 10,000 words on this.
Yeah, and someone will.
And you know, the thing is, like, different scars would get different reactions. If they were there for a different reason, they would perhaps be getting a different reaction. But we are entering this era where a lot of people jump to conclusions one way or the other about a lot of different people. There's a lot of masculine presenting women that are just being presumed to be trans women that are cisgender, because so many people are jumping to conclusions and reacting with those in ways that they would be reacting to someone and their life experience differently if they thought it was something different, but you don't know. And this is meant to be a celebration for so many people, and you really need to be careful of how you react, because you don't know who you are hurting in your own life, because this is such a powerful statement for so many people who've gone through a similar journey as Gottmik for various reasons. And if you, like, a lot of people might feel differently about this.
I love it. And just on that subject, like, and I know this is going to sound like I'm being mean or silly, but like, I think if Roseanne came out today, there would have been a lot of jokes about her being a trans woman. Like a lot of things that we just sort of are like, oh, that's a big butch woman. Nowadays, there's a new standard of tropism that we apply to these sorts of celebrities, where somebody like, if Gottmik were just like a person on TV, I don't think everybody would automatically be like, oh, that's trans man. And so the fact that Gottmik uses his privilege to continue to protect younger people by, you know, Trans Lifeline being his charity, and the fact that he makes his art so defiantly about bucking gender stereotype and tradition, it's just so worth celebrating on every form of Drag Race.
And I think this discussion that we just had, I wish we had gotten 30 seconds of it on the show, because I always flash back to, I feel dirty as a viewer having ever viewed the Blair St. Clair moment on the runway. And even though I love Blair, and if at the end of the day she was happy with that, she was okay with that, and that was productive for her and helped anybody who watched it, great. But the way production cut it and the way Rue is in it, it feels very uncomfortable to me, and it feels very wrong. And meanwhile, we have a moment like this where, even just to have the discussion that we had, you know, to react as judges and say, this is what I think it does, rather than being like, Gottmik, you must now tell us things about your personal life. We could have just had a moment to marinate on this on stage and kind of say to the audience as a whole, like, this is the art of this is really a game changer. So I was bummed we didn't get that.
What you're saying is you're glad that Rue didn't make it salacious, but that you're glad that she didn't, that you're disappointed that she didn't go anywhere with it. So what you're saying is you're just glad she didn't ask for mix nip quick tips.
I hate you.
And speaking of things I wish we didn't see on screen, I really did not like Nina's look that much.
No,
I like
it's
the
so hard.
idea. I love the idea of what she was trying to do, but this is a reference to the Project Runway girlies. Season 9, one of the best seasons ever. Becky doing the avant-garde challenge and interpreting a painting and making a little black dress and putting green squares on it, and she called it a day. That's what this makes me think of. I really wish this was painted, or it was the fabric, something. It feels a little science project-y.
And not only that, but this is our second week of the season, second week of new episodes, and this is the second runway where I'm like, what's up, Nina? This is your A game for All Stars 9.
Nina West, this your Nina Best?
Yes.
The hole was also misplaced. The black hole was not where it was supposed to be, and it was...
It's rather low.
I respect you not getting a screen grab of that hole. I really do.
Oh.
I will say I thought the execution was very elevated. I thought it was technically really good. I liked the concept. I just think ultimately it didn't wind up being successful.
No.
But I really feel like oftentimes there's something to be said for like, when I compare this to something like Vanjie's, in a lot of ways, I maybe enjoyed Vanjie's more, but I can look at it and be like, this kind of just feels like you went into your closet, grabbed the pink stuff, and put the tail on. This looks like she executed an idea all over the place.
Okay, but she looks like Scorpius from Farscape giving a drag look. So, like,
You were so
thank
excited to drop that reference,
At the
Nico. I
Look
could
at the
see
fucking
your
mat.
eyes.
Thank you. No, this is Harvey, but still, Scorpion.
I mean, for me, I enjoy when people take such a big swing that they twirl around and fall down.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm into it. I wish that they weren't balls attached to her chest. I wish that she had sliced it out so that it was a plate of planet. But this is definitely Nina trying to do a big look. And I appreciated that from her.
That's to you. That much more concisely than I said it, Tori. That is exactly where my head is at.
In that regard, I do respect it. I respect the idea. I don't know. It's unfortunately just not for me, and that's okay. It's for Nina.
Well, let's talk about something that also wasn't for me, and I feel kind of bad about it. But George's, you know who I would have liked this way more on? Jax, season 15.
Baby
I thought
spiced.
on George's, this just sort of looked cute enough.
I don't know if it leans
Called
into
Chapter
tail enough for me.
Sephora.
I don't know if it leans into titty enough for me. She looks adorable. I love the color combination. That like cream.
She looks like a pound me puppy.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
I love. They pointed this out in the pit stop. I love the detail that her knees bend the correct way for a dog.
That is very cool.
That
I
is-
did enjoy that.
Yes,
I enjoyed
That it's
that.
anatomically correct for dog legs. It's pretty fantastic. I love all of that. Here's what I will say. I obviously part of doing something like this. I would have to say it this way. Plastique's little furry foot had a heel. This doesn't have a heel. I'm just saying some people are wearing heels in their furry outfits.
Well, Simone didn't have a heel.
This
No.
for me.
That's
This
fair.
for me gives 1990s TGIF high school villain character
Hey, Libby.
At the
trying
talent
to
show.
be sexy for Halloween, and then something embarrassing is going to happen to her in this outfit.
She's
That's the
turning
thing
into
on the
a
left.
cat. She's slowly turning into a
Oh,
cat.
she'll turn into a real cat. Yup.
Or Marla Sokoloff is going to be caught on stage in this.
No. This is
Um,
Kimmy Gibbler. This is not Marla Sokoloff. Marla Sokoloff would not wear this on Full House.
I maybe just want to
Absolutely
see
not.
Marla Sokoloff.
That's
in this.
part of the
Yes.
problem. Thank you. That literally identified the problem. This is not Gia. This is Kimmy Gibbler. That is literally the problem with it.
Kimmy
Thank you.
Goobler.
I just, damn, Marla Sokoloff, she's still killing it all these years later.
Think Marla Sokoloff, Georges.
I loved everything about this runway collection. What I do want to say is that I felt like the right two people won. Not that Angeria didn't deserve the coolest, closest third place medal ever, but the right two people won. I feel like something that Jonah said made my feelings so clear. Gottmik gave for me a very generic dance performance in the style that Gottmik knows how to deliver. She was sexy, she was hot, she was, I almost want to say, perfunctory. But something that elevated my heart was the way that Nina sought to bring new forms of performance to her show. It's just maybe she could have practiced a little more tearaway work. I don't know if she needed to get into a pair of sneakers and practice some Velcro, but like Mama just didn't have the motion down. It was like watching my arthritic mother reach for the bottle. It was just really awkward.
And also, we didn't get like a good look at each of them. I got like by the end, I was like, okay, I know what the bottom is. But...
I blame editing for that. She can't really help that, but it's also something you kind of have to think about.
Editing would be a fun drag queen.
Edie Ting.
Edie Ting. Love it. She's so hot.
Ooh, like how I came up with that genderqueer drag queen stand on a stage.
Yes.
Oh my God! How's my head? I didn't get that
me.
when you typed it in, and then now I just got the joke.
I do agree. This was just I loved where her head was at. This is kind of like her runway look. I loved where her head was at with doing this, but like. If you put this on and twirled around in your bedroom and tried to execute the pull-offs, you would know instantly, I got to go back to the designer and get a different tearaway fabric, tearaway clasp.
The other thing I want to say about this, I feel a little bit bad for Mick, because Mick really was trying her hardest to give a very sexy performance. I think she delivered in that regard. My problem with what Nina did, besides them being chopped and oh my God, the runway just littered.
I was gonna say she left stuff all over the floor.
There was like a closet on the floor.
Truly, my problem with it is she was going to do this for whatever challenge she won, no matter the song.
Yep.
This was not planned for this song, and I think that's where my problem with it comes. She was like, well, I have to do this. I'm going to make a joke on reveals.
I'm only going to be in one top 2, so I better grab the multi-reveal dress.
And that's where I think part of the problem lied. This wasn't for the song. This was because Nina wanted to do it, and Nina's going to do it regardless of whatever the song is. And I think that's also where it falls flat. It doesn't really make sense with the song.
Wait, so do you think she was going to use that banana even if it was like a virgin?
Yeah.
Like a virgin. If she was a senora and she had to shake it, she would still have done that.
I really love that she ended on the banana, because that really does highlight that the only thing she did to tie that into the banana song was have a banana.
And a RuPaul chocolate bar. RuPaul.
And I just want to be like Nymphia needs to start charging money every time somebody uses a banana on RuPaul's Drag Race.
What could it cost? $10?
$10. There's always money in the
$10,000 tax included.
I will say, I don't get this blocking. I get it from a term of
tax included. Sorry, I just got there.
I guess someone has to be blocked, and I guess that it's Georges' time. She has a challenge win, sure.
That basically.
Yeah.
I think we saw the challenge that I know Georges was going to be in the top / potentially win. I do not know, based on what we've seen so far, if that's going to happen again, and this is kind of a voice of a block. Maybe I'm just being shady.
Well, we know what the next challenge is now, and I actually think she could do well in it. I think given the cycle, given the fact that we've gone through like 3 big ones, I feel like this was not the dumbest play. I feel like it wasn't just like because after having just done Snatch Game, which Georges isn't going to be good at, I feel like the concern that the next thing that we do might be something where she could perform or serve a look is actually probably, if you don't know what's coming, it's a good coin toss. I guess, and also I think like blocking Angeria every week would just kind of get old for everybody.
Yeah, if it just bounce between Angeria and Roxy, that would be that's your safe bet for almost any challenge.
The problem is she should have blocked Vanjie, because Vanjie makes Rue laugh, and so you never know.
Okay,
what Vanjie
I think strategically that's true, because Vanjie also, I would be concerned about a look and a dance challenge.
Oh, for sure.
So I think you're right that she has the additional piece of she can make Rue laugh. Georges' additional piece is that Rue is just kind of enamored of her. So I don't know. This is actually like, this kind of strategy is fun and interesting, and I wish that we could package it a little bit more into the All-Stars thing that we're doing. Go ahead,
I
Kev,
think
see.
this is one of those things that sort of brings us full circle to what we've been talking about this whole time, which is it is for charity.
Yeah.
Nobody goes home.
Yeah.
So I think that is a huge part of everyone's thought process of I don't want to cut off charities that have not had opportunities yet.
Oh, wow.
I don't want to double ding anyone. You're not going home. I'm not going home. We all want to make as much money as we can and have fun. And we all want to look good and generous of each other's charities. If you go against any queen, you're also saying, I'm going to keep you from getting more money from your charity. Everybody wants to get to the top 2 and get the most for their charity. But you don't want to be the person who's like, if people keep going for Angeria, that means Angeria's charity is not getting money. And that looks absolutely terrible.
You know, Kevo, on that point, as we wound down, I just love doing my Vanjie impression because I'm Jinx Monsoon. As we wind down, I want to say that one of the things that I think that they did really right this season, without explaining the season it's a result of, is that I really appreciate that the bonus badges are going out this week because it keeps it competitive. It means that they're probably no one's going to give a bonus badge to somebody that already has a badge. This is much more likely a leveling element. This is much more likely to keep everything feeling competitive and exciting because you're not going to give somebody a second badge or a third badge. You're going to give somebody their first badge to keep them playing. It's giving that friend a quick loan and risk. But unless you've already got 2 badges, you're not going to give somebody their second badge. And so I think this is much more likely to level out the playing field than create further inequity. Just because we're all equal doesn't mean that we're all equal.
I don't know. I think Roxy had a good point. I think Gottmik should be a little frightened of being the only person with 2 if she would like to not be snipped. Now, if she's like, you know what, if they're going to snip me, they might as well snip me now. Like, fine. But I think that math is going to kick in when she goes home and takes a nap and comes back the next week.
Well, and no matter what, I think she will be the person snipped at the end of the next challenge, and that's fine. But what's that? Got snipped. I think that's kind of the only way it can go, especially also because I think she's she is a professional makeup artist. I'm pretty sure she's going to absolutely destroy in this show. It actually might be that she wins again, in which case, she'll be the one doing the snipping. But if she does not win, I think there's just virtually no way it's not her next, which, at this point, I think is, again, like, nobody goes home. It's all compliments. It is very sweet and very mellow. We do get back to the point of, like, do I maybe miss some drama? Do I maybe miss some, like, legitimate frustration about what happens when one is blocked? Yeah, I maybe do. I don't know. I think more and more, even though I see a lot of things that I love out of these later All-Star seasons and these things like nobody going home, I also see ways in which I'm like, it is time to do an even bigger shakeup than nobody goes home. Shake up Snatch Game, shake up the format, figure out how to make an environment where the girls can cut up, can have drama, can make good TV, but it doesn't ever have to descend into bullying and, bad behavior. I don't know. It's a lot to think about, but I can do it all. If you guys just call me, I'll just produce the whole show, and then we'll be fine.
You got a production team here.
Yeah,
we're right here.
I'll take care of it. We're good.
Speaking of production team, Tori, it is so incredible that you have joined our production team. We love having you. It is unbelievable that you raised the bar by coming in Snatch Game of Love attire.
And now we're all going to have to think about this and figure out what we're doing with our lives.
I started wearing collars so I would look handsome, and like you're out here looking spectacular. Where can everybody find you? What was your favorite performer? And we love you.
Oh, I love you guys too. You can find me online at smtori. That's Tori with an I on most of your socials. And then who is my favorite? I loved everything Gottmik brought this week. I was gagged over Pal Joey. Like couldn't live without it. So yeah, that's me. TK, what's with you?
Me, what is with me? That's a really fair question. So first off, you can find me at TK Elemental, and I think. I
meant to ask a real question. I forgot that I had a real question, which was, who is your Snatch Game of Love character?
Who would I do?
Yeah.
I think that's a question for a longer broadcast.
Oh no! Whoops! So what is it about you, TK?
Well, so I was going to say that for me, everything is Gottmik for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to throw out there, I think I do a better Bjork than Katya. I think if I had a little time and knew I was going on, I might be able to figure out Fiona Apple. Tori Amos would be the stretch goal. I don't think I could make it happen, but I have been thinking about it a lot. Jonah, what do you got?
Hi everyone, you want to follow me places? It's at Peak Jonah, that's Peak. This episode for me was Mick, head to toe. Runway to runway, Snatch Game to Snatch Game, absolute stellar performance again. I really hope this dismisses a lot of people's ideas that like her Paris Hilton was a fluke because it still was one of the best Snatch Games, and it's like, oh no, Mick is funny. Who is my Snatch Game of Love? Easy answer. Late great Jessica Walter.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Fantastic.
This is something I need to think about. I would need to debate whether I want to do a character, do someone who is more towards celebrity. With this voice, there's a lot of characters I could do. But until I sound more like my lovely, otherwise baritone self, you can find me at Kevoreally. That's KEVOREALLY. Nico, Chief. Who did I already say who mine was also Gottmik? I've just been nodding with everyone else.
Just because everybody went Mick crazy, so I'm gonna go Nina West. I love Nina West, and I just want to make sure Nina gets a little bit of love. Big time. My Snatch Game of Love character. Ooh, man, I would be no doubt. I would be Gwen Stefani. Oh man, oh cool. Because I love Adore Delano. And if you want to check me out, Nico Action, NICOACTION. You can check out my music at Nico Action Music. That's NIC. I gotta go. Bye. 3 things you can do for us. You can like, comment, and subscribe. That's cool. But there's 3 things we really want you guys. I don't know why I can't spell my own name when you add the word music. But there's 3 things I really want you guys to do for you. Number 1, you guys got to stay safe. It's an awesome world, and we can't wait to see your amazing Snatch Game of Love character. And that involves you staying safe. Number 2, we want to see you guys be brave, because in all of that safety, who you are is still so important. But who you were yesterday, we love them. Who you are today, amazing. But who you are tomorrow is going to be the coolest version of you yet. So don't forget to evolve daily. And if you can do those 3 things, you guys can catch us tomorrow talking about Beacon 23, a show that literally never wants to be the same thing week after week, like a drag queen. So if you think you like drag queens and you think you like sci-fi, Beacon 23 it.
And then we will also be back next week to talk about the series finale of Star Trek Discovery.
And the fact that we're going to the pink disco. We are going to see Trixie Ma fucking Tell and Jared Sport. It's going to be the best day ever. So definitely check us out.